Well, the stock market has been trying to do exactly what Nick Gibbs says it's going to do, but I'm not sure exactly because I kind of lost track. Today was, an interesting day. It kind of pulled back from yesterday, but now we've got the war is over. So, the after hours looking pretty good. What, what do you, what did you say? What did you think was going to happen today? Did you think it would be a moderation from yesterday?
Yeah, I did. Yesterday clearly was a day that signaled um, de-escalation off ramp, especially when we got to kind of a climax of peak threats. Um, I feel like we've seen this a few times now. So the playbook was kind of, the pattern recognition is there, if you could see it. Um, So yeah, I think today, obviously, there's been no real settlement, but you saw the same thing happen with Greenland. Whenever Trump was in Davos, he gave a speech. Once he said that he wasn't going to use military intervention, all of a sudden the market started going again, right? So you see this; it's the same playbook over and over and over. You ask for the world, you ask for more than what you want so that no one knows what you actually want, what you're actually going for. And I think it's a tried and true, tactic. So I think if you can recognize that pattern of what was happening, then I think you could kind of see everything that was going to unfold. We just didn't know when it would
Right.
happen, but we knew that it would happen. Uh, and I think, some people call it taco, it stands
Right.
for Trump always chickens out.
Yeah.
I don't think that's I think that's a very shallow way of looking at it.
Mhm.
Um, the better way to think about it is he's over asking to get what he actually wants. So you never ask for what you actually want, right?
Right.
You ask for above and beyond in
Hmm.
order to get what you want. And I think that's what he keeps doing over and over. And people call it taco, but I think someone said it really well with everything that they've done up to this point to Iran, to the leader, all that. I don't think he chickened out.
No,
you know,
no.
like I don't think the former Ayatollah would agree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
So so yeah, I think these movements have been pretty predictable, and I think it's been obvious that the market wants to run and rally,
Mhm.
and I I think we'll probably see more of this until we get kind of a clear resolution and until we get the next news cycle. We're about 4 weeks into this news cycle with the Iran war, so that's maybe like a week long in the tooth than the media normally likes. So on to the next story distraction.
Yes, like lines at the airports are anyway.
Yeah.
You made some commentaries about the fear greed index yesterday, so I noticed that the VIX never really got out of the 20s.
So the VIX is not what people think it is. It is not a measurement of fear. The VIX is simply the measurement of expected volatility within the S&P, or not the S&P, within the SPX option market looking at 30 days out. That's all it is. It's got nothing to do with fear. It's got nothing to do with any of that. All it is the expected volatility 30 days out on the SPX options. That's it. That's all it is. Now, people overfixate on it because they only pay attention to it whenever things are going bad. It's like, oh, the VIX is spiking. Yet you don't ever hear anyone talk about the VIX when things are good and we're in a bull market and everything's going up. The VIX will also go up whenever we're going up. It's not like stock market goes down, VIX goes down. That's not how it works. Uh, does that happen? Yeah, of course that happens. And people will draw parallels because, again, that's what I think people are biased to seeing. But the better way to think about VIX is it's a measure of uncertainty.
Right.
And when you have uncertainty, that expands the expected move of option contracts
Right.
because option contracts are heavily influenced through volatility. And
Hmm.
so that's all it is. It's the measurement of volatility, the measurement of the expected move up or down
Hmm.
For the SPX options, they're 30 days out.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right.
So there is currently still a lot of volatility. Ergo, you see it up into the 20s.
Hmm.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, but not into the 30s or the 50s.
I don't think it's ever gotten to the
I
50s. I mean,
think
maybe
so.
once.
Yeah, yeah. But
Maybe once. I think it hit 40 last year during the whole tariff thing. Um, it's it's very rare,
right.
and it'll come down. It's we spend the majority of time when it comes to volatility. You spend about 80% of the time compressing rather than expansion.
Hmm.
So it's just one of the characteristics. Volatility is always mean regressing, whereas stock prices are not, contrary to what many people think. Stock prices tend to go up and to the right.
Right.
Volatility, it's a law of physics, will always mean revert, will always come back to equilibrium.
Makes sense. All right. So Tesla broke out today. I mean, that wasn't a big break. It's not like it didn't go crazy,
Wow.
but it was up. It
No,
was
hold on. We're not going past that.
it was
Everybody's a
up.
$3 move. Barely had a $3 move. It broke out.
Well, but it was up and the stock market was down. So
That's fair.
that's fair. Yeah.
It disassociated itself, maybe is a
Yes.
better way of saying it.
Yes. I've used that exact word in the past.
Don't
So
ask me how to spell it. I just know how to use it.
so my theory was that the good news on Tesla has just been overwhelming for like 3 weeks. I mean, just yeah, there's a couple of pieces of bad news here, but here and there, but most of it has been new stuff, new projections, new product, ramps starting, ramps continuing. Um, I mean, just it's been amazing news.
I kind of agree with you. I think put the stock price to the side, right? We'll talk about it, but let's put a pin
Yep.
in it right here. Put that
Yep.
pin in there. We'll take it on a second. Uh, I think if you look at Tesla right now and their arc of a story up to this point when it comes to autonomy, robotaxi, cybercabs, there has not been a more exciting time than today. Literally today. I don't want to get ahead of anything you're going to talk about, but
No, you can
we're
go ahead.
seeing
Yeah, you can go ahead.
potential findings of all these different what we presume to be robotaxis all over the country. In Orlando, in Dallas, in uh,
Las Vegas.
no, Las Vegas, Nevada. We're seeing them in Houston. We're seeing validation vehicles today in Miami. I think you saw one in Dallas as well. So things are clearly moving faster than they have been. It seems very clear that things are starting to ramp up. And I think, I don't know this, but it's my, of following Tesla for as long as I have, my impression is that they don't really like to make moves unless it's time to make a move. So, like, if I had to give some examples, um, they didn't want to roll out FSD initially until they felt really confident about it. They didn't want to go ahead and really scale up the Cato battery fact. Well, they started with Cato, right? Cato was kind of a test site, but they didn't really want to scale until they kind of figure some things out there. They Same thing with Cybertruck. What was the other? Oh, data centers, right? So they did not want to build out these massive data centers until they felt like they were at a point with FSD and solving the problems where they're like, okay, we have if you remember, Elon used to talk about, we are ascending all these mountains, and every time we think we're there, we're seeing progress, we get there only to find out there's another mountain that's even higher.
Right.
And so they have to constantly climb these mountains, but they don't know until they get to the top of that one.
Hmm.
And then we got into this period where Elon was saying, we've been a C architecture, but then we were a B architecture. Now we are officially in the A architecture. And that's what led them to saying, okay, now that we have everything in the proper architecture that we think is the right way to solve this, now it's just a data problem. It's just about capturing data and training. And that's when they said, okay, now it's time to go and build out the data centers.
Hmm.
So they as a company and their culture, and I would say mainly Elon, they're very good at not getting ahead of themselves when it comes to going hard at scale until they feel like they actually have the problem well defined or achieved
Mhm.
up to that point. And so, if these are actually robo taxis, which I don't think we have concrete proof of that, the only thing we have is license plates and the fact that they have rear camera washer spray thing. But let's assume that these are. I don't think Tesla deploys these the way they are without getting ready to take this expansion to the next level,
Right.
right? And that next level doesn't mean hundreds of thousands like Elon's talked about. I think I'm Randy, one of the few who have said that we're not going to have hundreds of thousands this summer. I could
Quite
be wrong. I
frankly,
hope I'm wrong.
quite frankly, I think you're in the mainstream on that one. I think I'm the outlier by actually
Ah,
believing Elon that it's going to be
I
500,000 by the
when
end of the
he's
year. Yeah.
when he said it last year,
Yes.
it was not mainstream to say, I don't think so. Anyways, not to relitigate the
Gary
past.
Black didn't think so.
Yeah, well, don't bucket me with him. Jeez, what are we doing here? What is this? Is this Jerry Springer? Who's gonna come out of that corner? Uh, but going back to it, I don't think Tesla does this without feeling confident or actually about to expand. Now, that
Right.
doesn't mean it's gonna be this big expansion either,
Right.
but it will be probably an order of magnitude bigger than what they've done up to this point.
Sure.
Right? Clearly,
Yeah.
it's about 7, 8, 9, 10 cities,
Mhm.
way more vehicles. Cybercab is going to start launching. So I think this is the natural evolution, and this is just taking it to the next level step. And we'll get to this point. Everybody will get numb from it. Stock will move for a little bit probably, and then everyone will get numb to it. And then they'll be like, okay, well, when's it going to continue? Or we know we saw bad weight. There's going to be complaining, and then it'll get to another stage. But I don't think it's necessarily kind of a big jump. I think it'll work in a gradual sloping of time. Much like we've seen robo taxis get deployed into California and Austin, I think it'll be like that, very similar to that at a faster rate.
Mhm.
But I think it'll be like that, where it's like you don't just throw out 10,000 vehicles. You start with 100, build up to 500, build up to 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. And hopefully the more experience they get, the faster this happens. So I don't remember where we started on this question, but I took us far left. So can you bring us back center?
I can bring you back to center. Yeah. So I'm actually gonna go off on my own tangent here because I want to cover this before we
Ooh.
forget about it. Or how long will it take after we have the straits open or a clear notion that the straits are open, that things are normalized with regard to the ocean containers, before oil gets back to like 65?
So that's a good question. There's a lot of variables to that answer. Uh, I think the biggest question, the real question, is not what it will. The real question is, will anyone trust whatever peace deal, treaty, negotiation that comes out of this?
Mhm.
Or will everyone be on edge thinking, hey, this is going to relapse in a month? And the reason I say that is because right now, much like post COVID, it is in every country's best interest to find ways to no longer be dependent on oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
And so, just like after COVID, everybody started figuring out ways to not be reliant on China in case they lock things down.
Right. Right.
So I think we're going to get there. I think you're going to start seeing different plans, different contracts, different countries. I bet you Venezuela becomes a big part of this. Who controls the Strait of Hormuz? That's going to be a
Mhm.
really big question. And even if there's a joint European or Gulf states that control it, like What are you going to do if someone on the Iran side decides to fire off rocket launchers? Like, there's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter who controls it. So I think a lot of countries are going to try to de-risk. That de-risking isn't cheap. That de-risking has cost.
Mhm.
So, I'm sure you're going to see Saudi try to build out a lot of pipelines to move oil from the east, or from the east part of Saudi Arabia towards the west part, towards the Red Sea, which is actually pretty convenient for them, because then you have the Suez right there. So it's kind of cuts down on the trip instead of having to go all the way down
Right.
the Persian, Arabian, back up the Red Sea. But that's going to cost money, and that's going to reflect in price of crude. And I think there's going to be an impact. And at the same time, let's say that we can get to a place where everyone trusts the current environment. Everyone thinks, hey, we're getting back to neutral. If we're getting back to neutral, if there's any kind of peace deal with Iran, I have to imagine it is not just going to be, hey, we're going to stop attacking you, but there would probably be a deal that involves the U.S. releasing or allowing them to sell their oil out into the market. And that could be interesting, because then that could create more of a surplus of oil out there and lower oil. So I think that we will get back to low prices. I just don't know how fast it'll be, because the real question is not how fast will it be to supply with oil. I think the real question is how soon will countries be ready to trust what's happening. I also imagine once things open up, everyone's going to be trying to stockpile. Okay, so it's like this happens again. I think everyone found a weakness. And so just like rare earth metals is a weakness for a lot of countries, I think not having proper oil reserves is a big weakness, especially for countries like Japan and China and India. So I think that will create a lot of demand organically that will come out. But let's say in the next 4 to 5 months, maybe 6 months, we might be in a different world where all of a sudden, not only do we have peace, which is great, but now we've got Venezuela adding their oil to the market, Iran adding their oil to the market, and all of a sudden now there's a bunch of oil on the market. And so this will be interesting to see what happens. But I would almost guarantee that we are going back down to the 60s, if not lower. So we'll see what happens. But it's all going to be predicated on, can you trust and feel confident that your country can rely on tankers going in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. That's what it's going to be about.
I saw a headline today that I didn't go very deeply into, but it was NATO said they're going to build a canal parallel or just down from where the straits are right now. People have talked about that canal forever. They said that there was going to be starting like soon, they acted like they thought they could do it fast. It would seem to me building a canal like that would take years and years. I don't, what do you think?
If it's where I think it is, like just west of where the strait is that what you're talking about?
Yep. It cuts off. I mean, it just cuts off the whole, yeah. You don't have to go around the corner there.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the terrain is like there, but where there's a will, there's a way. And when there's urgency, things get done. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It's honestly, it's probably why it hasn't been done up to this point. It's a stupid problem to have. Like, it just is. It's I don't know. Sometimes it still shocks me. It's 2026. The fact that we still have wars or countries that want to go to war with other countries, or we have like it's like, doesn't everybody just want to like live life, hang out at the pool, go to the beach, be with their family, eat good food, work hard on a project or at work, feel a sense of pride, and like, isn't that what we all want? But meanwhile, you have a handful of people in this world that just want to stir crap up and just want to create chaos for everyone. It's like, listen, like, honestly, I almost feel like all the people who want to start a war should just all go to prison. All of them.
There you go.
I don't care who you are. Anyone who wants to sit there and attack one country to another, like just stop it. The vast majority, 99% of every person on this earth, they
Doesn't
want to eat good food. They want to be with their family. They want to have fun. They want to do work that makes them feel good. And that's it. That's
yeah,
all we want.
yeah.
You just want to live a nice, simple, fun, happy, healthy life. That's it.
And whatever happened to
Time
the
for all this.
UN, so they're supposed to be peacekeeping and not and keeping this stuff from happening.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I know you are very interested in the weapons of war and war, and Brian Wang and I had a great conversation the other day about if ever in history, and I'm not a historian on this at all. I know a lot, but I'm not a historian.
You were
But
just there. No.
yeah, I was present. Well, I was present for everything since World War II, so that would be quite a few wars or police actions or whatever they're called. It would appear to me that like no other time in history, maybe not even in the 50, 75 years I just was talking about, have we had a situation where defense might be the whole game when it comes to war. Between
Well,
lasers and drones, it's looking like defense is going to be the game.
I mean, we've seen this a lot, especially like from the Russians, right? That's how the Russians essentially beat Germany twice. Was they just kept playing defense and kept doing whole scorched earth
Right.
um, method, right? Where they essentially just destroyed everything. Like, yeah, come on in, come on, we're going to destroy everything. You keep coming in deeper and deeper. You're not going to be able to get any of your goods here. You're not going to be able to eat food because we're just going to destroy everything. And obviously a war of attrition. But at the same time, even with Ukraine, right? That's just a game of defense as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's more common. If you see it in sports for sure all the time.
Mm.
It's a common tactic, especially like in soccer, especially if you have a really good club, or if it's like the World Cup and it's a team that's the underdog and they happen to get a score on the other team,
Right.
and it's 1-0, they're packing the box. They're not even going to try for offense at that point. They're packing the box. They are playing hardcore defense. We're not wasting any energy on the offense.
Right.
So I think it's a pretty common thing, but maybe you're right. Well, I mean, I don't know if I can think of anything off the top of my head
Well,
besides the
if you go,
Russians.
well, if you go back, so mostly it's been defense since the Second World War. But if you go to Korea, of course, was a kind of a civil war. But if you go back into the Second World War, that was Germany and Japan on offense. You go to what do you call it? Napoleon on offense. You go to the Russians invading, Europe on offense. I haven't studied this to death, but it just seems like most of the stuff that happened and if you even think of tribal situations where the tribes would wait until they had a 4-1 advantage over their neighbor, and then they would just go take them. Colonization, mostly offense. So anyway, that's just kind of a thought I had. And right now, defensive shields like what they have in Israel, the new lasers that are coming out, the abilities that we have with Starlink, and it's going to just get bigger and bigger. What do you call it? I always forget their name. I don't know why I can never remember. The ability of us to choose targets and absolutely nail the targets on the first day of the
Mhm.
war because of AI. Um, seems like an offensive character is going to have a hard time in the future.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of that was offensive, right?
I mean, what we did to Iran?
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely offensive.
I guess you could
And
call it offensive, but we didn't go there to take them out and to take them over, like, or, Israel doesn't want to take them out or take them over, take the land.
Well, I
They're
think that's a different
defending themselves
dynamic.
against what Iran has done.
Yeah, I think that's a different dynamic. So, like the examples you gave with Japan and Germany and even Napoleon, that was all trying to take land
Yeah.
and colonize them, right? Or maybe that's not the right word, colonize, but just to take over the land, right? They're going to war for them, against them. I think modern day, unless there's something like China, Taiwan kind of thing, I don't think you're gonna see a lot of modern day battles where we're trying to take your land. It's gonna be more so. It's like I think like what's happening, like exactly what's happened with Venezuela, what's happened here is happening here with Iran, and it's we don't need your land. We just need whoever's there to be an ally of ours. That's it. Or someone that we can work with, someone
Right.
that's reasonable that we can communicate. We don't even have to like us.
Yeah.
Just someone that can be reasonable and isn't trying to threaten us every 2 days. That I think is the new warfare. You go in, if you are the superior power, you set the tone, let them know this is how things are going to be. You're with it. You're not with it. All right, next. And I think the United States has tried that several times, but has failed. And in a way, we've had some success, right? Because if you think about it, like Hitler was technically regime change.
Yep.
So Pinochet and there's a few other examples, Mussolini. But I do think that, especially for a country like the United States, where we're not really interested in conquering more lands.
Right.
It's not necessary for us.
Right.
So I don't know. I think just the whole way people view conflicts a little different. Like we talk about Russia and Ukraine, and just everything they're doing is just circa 20th century. It's not looking 21st century. So I think things have evolved, and so it allows you to get in, get out, do what you're trying to do. Hope things go your way, but you don't necessarily have to sacrifice everything for every single battle.
Okay.
But, I don't know. It is interesting from just as a chess player. It's interesting to see how everything unfolds.
So yesterday, Jensen Wang was in a long, long interview. I haven't heard the whole thing yet with Lex Friedman, and in the interview, he said the software companies will survive. Don't get all shook up that the agents, all these million agents going out, need their tools. And I figured, who is in a better position to know than Nicholas Gibbs with regard to what he's hearing and what's out there that you can actually tell us?
Well, I've been saying this for a while that I this is where I think Elon's getting things wrong.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we're going to be in a world of abundance the way he predicts. And
I
I
predict.
don't, pardon?
And I predict.
Okay, you're both going to be wrong. Uh, and I don't think we're going to be in a place where software is just irrelevant. And I think that all these things I think, are going to be wrong. And I think just a little common sense kind of gets you there. So right now, everyone is trying to build with AI, some form of AI. The reality is a lot different from what Elon or Jensen or Sam Altman or Dario at Anthropic, they're all talking their book. They all need you to invest in them so they can continue to invest back into the business so they can continue spending money on chips. Jensen needs people to buy chips. He needs to keep that going. So the hype is real, in my opinion. Like the hype is dramatized. It's exaggerated. It's hyperbolic.
Okay.
In my opinion, the reality is that companies are using AI in different ways, but they're using it as a productivity tool, as an automation tool, And what they're doing is they're using AI to replace a lot of the heuristics within the companies. So a lot of automation, a lot of processes, a lot of SOPs are done through either just literally like lane chain type processes or just heuristics that, teams internally have used. Now, all that's getting displaced or slowly getting displaced by these different agents and LLM type tools.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, is the reality. You're not going to see developers go away. In fact, you're going to see even more developers needed. Why? Well, because Randy, if I gave you Claude Code and I gave Claude Code to a developer, who do you think is going to be able to build better, you or him?
They will. Yeah.
It's common sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Claude Code's great. It helps immensely, but only the person who understands how development works, development lifecycle, only they will know, hey, we need to do this type of pen testing. Hey, we need these type of tests. Hey, I don't like the way this is outputting. Hey, maybe we could break this up. Hey, maybe we need to have a disaster recovery plan for this. Or hey, maybe it's just ephemeral. We don't need to worry about it. Hey, maybe the architecture for this should be more Lambda based rather than microservices. Or maybe, hey, it's just a thick client. Don't worry about it. Like there's all these different things that are going to happen. And the truth is, we have this really good tool that will allow developers to be even more productive, to be able to faster iterate and go from idea to development to productization faster than ever. Right. That's going to be the reality. That is the reality right now.
Right.
So going back to software companies, like I hear people on like All In podcasts. Okay, you have someone like Jason Calacanis, however you say his name. And he's talking about how his Claude bot is saying to him, oh, well, I could just build you a CRM. Listen, all these companies out there in the world, they're not sitting there with their internal teams saying, hey, I know we could be building with these AI tools better ways to deliver better products for our customers, but nah, let's make a new Salesforce. That's not what they're doing. They're not saying, hey, let's make a new Workday. That's not what they're doing. They're trying to find ways to take this, become better, productive employees internally, and then ideally, they learn from that internally, how it works there, where it's good, where it's not good. And that's really what the last 2 years have been about, is companies using it internally. Right. But now they're using it in their own development life cycle so that they can faster collaborate between product teams, CPOs, and the actual dev teams, so they have faster alignment. Imagine a product team that's not a real technical team, but now they can kind of vibe code an idea of a product they want, and they can throw it over to the developers. Now the developers have more clarity and understanding of what the product team's looking for, and they can say, okay, I see where you're going, but let's I got it from here. And they can go and they can build and they can work faster. And guess what? The iteration process moves quicker. We get better products out there. Life cycles iterate and they move faster. That is going to be the real world. That's what's going to happen. All these SaaS companies are just going to get better. Now, let me just asterisk here before I get a whole bunch of comments down below. One, I will not be wrong about this. Mark my words. I know I sound cocky and all that. I'm telling you, I'm in the world. I have I'm not talking about book or anything. It's going to take a long time for companies to truly implement these tools internally.
100%.
And it's a lot longer than everyone thinks. Now, there will be disruption. Of course there will be. Okay? There will be certain jobs you just don't need anymore. Okay? A spec writer. Maybe I just don't need a spec writer anymore, right? Because maybe I say, hey, I don't need this role. And instead, guess what? Mr. Developer, you, with the free time, I'm going to have you also write your own specs, because really we're just using AI to write the specs, but I just want you to validate, and that's now part of your role. We fold that into your role.
Right.
That makes sense. That'll happen. You'll have more of that. The same way that there's certain things that we don't have as many of. We don't have as many people making saddles for horses anymore, but that doesn't mean that we don't have more car seats being made in the world, right? So roles will change. There will be people laid off for certain roles that just aren't needed anymore, that are just a relic of a pre-AI day. but an infinite more amount of jobs are going to be made.
Right.
Way more jobs are going to be made. Right. So I think, I know everyone's always doomsday about these things, and everyone thinks this time's different. But I'll cap this off with why I think the whole abundance thought process is wrong.
Okay.
Because the idea is that all of a sudden we're all going to be able to have everything we want, and we live in this utopian communist society because everyone has everything they want. All right, BS. How much waterfront real estate is there on Miami Beach or in Long Island?
Okay, let me stop.
Long Beach.
Yeah, let me stop you at this point. So
I can keep going. That's one example.
Right. Okay. So I understand. I'm 100% in agreement with you, but I want to turn it around. So Tony Seba, who almost created the abundance concept and did all the work that he did with regard to disruption. Tony Seba is the one who's saying, "Oh, there will be no scarcity anymore." If you listen to my show, I'm just playing with you. I say over and over and over and over again, there's going to be tons of scarcity. I don't care if it's Taylor Swift concerts, concert seats, whether it's LA Rams football seats. I don't care whether.
All right, you're taking all my examples.
100%. So scarcity will continue to be a fact. No chance that scarcity is going away. But the idea of abundance, in my opinion, and so I'd love to have you speak to this, the idea that I have of abundance is that electric trucks with no driver are going to drop the price of food by at least a third.
But let me pause you there real quick, because I see where you're going with this. Okay. Let's use that as the example.
Okay.
Right now, in the world, we have an abundance of calories.
Right.
But half of all those calories are in obese, overweight people. And they're not going to the starving kids that need it, or the people wherever they live, right?
Actually, you don't have any starving people anymore.
Well, no, you do. There are definitely starving people in this world.
Barely.
But you get my point.
Yeah.
We have an abundance of calories.
Right.
Yet we still don't have it dispersed. And in fact, this abundance of calories has created a whole new set of issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That has, all those issues it's created has created all these other businesses.
Okay.
From nutritionists to health coaches to Ozempic to the scientists that make Ozempic to the factories. Like, this is what I'm saying. So, like, even if it's abundance, abundance does not mean good.
Yeah, no. So I'm not, I think I understand how you're trying to couch it, and I get where you're going with it, but I want to come back to just distribution cost being dropped by a third. Okay. Forget the fact, I'm not saying there'll be more food, because the United States, 0 people, unless their mom and dad's addicted or they're addicted, 0 people go to bed hungry in the United States. No, I've studied it 15 ways from Christmas. Grok says, it's 100,000 people or something that miss they miss a meal. They don't miss 5 meals. It's just a day of fasting. We're not talking about people that are in real trouble. And it's true internationally too. Even in the worst places in the world, the only reason people are starving is because of some dictator, like in the Congo or whatever, that's keeping the food away, because millions of missionaries and millions of UN people and millions of American peace programs are willing to shove food down, as much food as they need if they can't make it themselves. So the abundance I'm talking about is, okay, let me give you the example. In the 1950s, 15% of your budget was food. In the 2025s, 26, about 8%, 9% of your budget is food. Okay. We may get to a place where 5% of your budget is food. So if that happens, then you have this leftover money to go spend someplace else. Now, the trucking situation, which is going to be one of the most clear examples that's happening fast, and it's going to happen fast, that's not just going to affect the cost of food. It's going to affect the cost of anything with atoms. So my cost of transportation, when I have my factory, the cost of transportation of bicycle water bottles was the reason we kept the product in the United States. because if you take something that has it's all air and you try to ship it from China, it costs you way too much money. So there's a very high cost situation with regard to transportation. And if you get that cost of transportation down, then anything with atoms is going to come down in price. Well, if all that happens, and that's just one category, like healthcare would be another, et cetera, as we get better and better and better at understanding illness. As those costs go down, then the abundance comes as a result of having all the other money left over to spend. And so, yeah, you might spend $10,000 on a Taylor Swift ticket because you've got it to spend.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't think that's the narrative that's talked about when Elon's talking about abundance, because he talks about like we'll have to find meaning, and we'll be a different world, and you'll want for not, and just all these things. And like it's a beautiful sentiment. I don't think that's how this game ends or how this game evolves.
And I'll agree with you on that as well, because I think we will always find jobs to do. One of my chapters in the book, that's what it is an entire chapter on the jobs that will be made as a result of all this additional cash. And I got a new book coming out, 57 AI-proof small businesses you can go into.
So that's exactly what I was going to say, is that with something like writing a book, right? Something that so clearly would be displaced by AI.
Right.
I see more people writing books than ever. Why? Because it just makes them better, makes them more efficient.
Yeah, it takes me time.
I've never seen so many people write so many books. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
this is the thing that I don't think people are understanding.
Yeah.
That it will create more jobs. It's very clear that book writing should be done. Like that shouldn't be a thing anymore.
Right.
But it's exploding. It's so cheap to write a book now.
Yep.
It's so easy to get your ideas down.
Yep.
It's so easy to iterate quickly. Now, not only that, you don't have writer's block because you can go back and forth with your AI tool. I mean, it's incredible. But it's the irony. It's did not do what people thought. The same way everyone thought, oh, the artists and the creatives are going to be out of a job first, the AI. Turns out, looks like it's affecting more so the technical roles.
Right.
And even then, we still got that wrong, because it's not putting them out of a job. It's allowing them to be even better than jobs and be more. So I'm not saying I know what's going to happen. I don't. What I do know is that everybody's predictions are always wrong when it comes to this stuff. And it never looks like what people predict. And so my prediction is that we see more of that. This is where I think Elon's been right. The most ironic outcome is the most likely outcome. How ironic is it that the thing that's supposed to disrupt the whole idea of words on a page is actually allowing everybody to write more books than ever?
Right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I actually said I was never going to write another book, and now I've written 3 books in 5 months.
Exactly.
Because it used to cost me 100 hours. And if you figure only $100 an hour, that's you got to make $10,000 just to get your time investment back.
Yeah.
And so now, if it only takes me 20 hours, well, now I only have to make $2,000 to get my time investment back.
Not just that. Okay, so all right, let me give you another example.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's not working more than they ever have now because of AI. Not one person. Everyone I know is doing more, working more than ever because of AI.
And probably liking it more.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So just think about it. This thing that's supposed to make it so nobody works anymore, what's it doing? It's making people work more than ever. Again, the irony. So this is why I say, like, everyone who, look, there are people that should be worried, okay? Like, there will be jobs that go away.
Yeah,
like
lots of them have gone away.
Uber drivers won't be a thing.
Right.
All right. They may have another role. Yeah. They might have fleet managers, things like that. Sure, it'll evolve a little differently, and we may not need as many.
Right.
All right. So yes, the reality is that there will be disruption.
Yeah.
But not the way we think either.
Right.
I think the real worry, if there is one, is if you are not staying up to date with these tools and you're not using them actively in your daily lives. I'm not saying you have to be up to date on the latest benchmark between GPT-5 and Grok 4.1 and Claude Opus Claude Opus. Like, I'm not saying that you have to be up to date. I'm not saying that you have to have a Mac Mini and be playing with OpenClaw. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you should be using some type of chat bot. You should be talking to AI. You should be using it to make images here or there as it makes sense. You shouldn't be Googling and looking at, your search things. You should be using the Google AI part of it.
Mhm.
Like, you should be doing this in your day-to-day lives, right? That you should do. The people who aren't doing that, who aren't integrating these AI tools into their lives to become just more efficient on their day-to-day, they are going to be in trouble. It's no different than, I don't know, I'm going to date myself, but like what, the 80s or 90s, Randy, you keep me honest, when people like refused to use computers or learn to type, like they got left behind.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the worst one was actually Excel.
Okay.
Yeah. When Excel came out, if you didn't put you were Excel ready on your resume,
You look like a Luddite.
no, it just went in the trash. Resume went in
Yeah.
the, didn't
Yeah.
even consider it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
so
yeah, I'm not,
that's my opinion.
yeah, I'm not
So,
worried. I'm not worried about those people. They will all find something to do. I mean, not, there will always be people that fall by the wayside, but not very many. And I've got, like I said, 57 small businesses that make 100,000 a year. If you just work a little bit, just, spend a little time and energy, make $100,000 a year mowing lawns. Who knew? I can prove it that you can make $100,000 a year mowing lawns. Maybe somebody that's not brown skinned would want to go and do that. I know the rule is you have to be from Mexico or the Central America to mow lawns. But if you thought you could make $100,000 a year and stay outdoors all day, maybe you'd want to mow
you
some
definitely don't
lawns.
live in Florida.
Oh, you don't want to mow lawns in Florida. It's just too humid.
No, no, no. I was saying in Florida, it's like all these white guys that
Oh,
are always mowing lawns. Yeah.
interesting. Interesting. No, I've never in California, I've never seen a
Well, as I
white
say,
person.
you're in California, a little different. Yeah.
Never
You
happened.
guys are Mexico.
We are. We're northern Mexico. Yeah. And some Mexicans believe that. Solid sales numbers.
I was gonna say, have you been to Long Beach? I mean, it might be.
Yeah, it could be. Sales numbers are coming in really strong from Europe, from Korea, from China. Is there any chance that we're going to beat the 371,000 that the street is talking about? Or will the street drop its number closer to the betting number of 350,000 between now and the second? Or
Really?
something in
Those are the
between?
expected numbers?
Yeah, 371 is the street,
Wow.
350 is
Why so
and
low?
well, remember, okay, so I did an analysis. I was telling Larry about this the other day. I went to Grok and I said, look, I want to figure out what it should be in the first quarter based on historic drops. So I took third quarter and fourth quarter and averaged them because obviously third quarter was crazy and fourth quarter was crazy the other way. So take those 2 months, average them, and now take the average drop from fourth quarter to first quarter over the last 10 years, which is 27%. If you do that, you come up with 340,000.
I don't know. I 400,000. 400,000
400,
plus.
okay, all right, okay. There's at
Why
least
not?
one person, one credible person out there that is at 401.
Is there?
Yeah, I don't remember who, but there's one.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, it just seems crazy to me that'd be less than 400,000.
Okay,
I would say whatever Q4 is what you should expect for Q1 because a lot of the demand for Q4 got shifted into Q3.
right.
So
Yeah,
I would say you shouldn't be too far off Q4.
yeah. So
And
what do you?
I agree with you. Like it seems like there's more demand now than there was in Q4.
Yeah, I think the only question mark I have is the United States. So I don't know we don't get any numbers. We got nothing to go on with the
Well,
US
before hopping on here, I saw that used Tesla prices were skyrocketing.
skyrocketing. Okay.
Not
Yeah,
surprising right now, but yeah.
yeah. I've been predicting for at least the entire time I've been on the show that there's going to come a day when you won't be able to buy a used Tesla, especially if
Yeah.
it has hardware 4.
I mean, you have to think with all this oil, like it's, I made a comment or a couple comments the other day about someone not using FSD more frequently,
Right.
and I definitely stirred the pot on that one. But I stand by what I've said, and I'll say right now, I think people who are not using FSD like 90+% of their drives,
Mhm.
there's something wrong with you. Uh, like I get it if you're like hardware 3 old version, okay, I get it. But
No,
in my
we're
opinion,
90,
it's
over 90% on that too.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's like you're choosing the unsafe thing. Like there's no need to do that for
Mhm.
one. Two, no one loves driving that much. I don't care who you are. And a friend of mine, Bobby, he brought up a good point. You don't even like driving. You like driving illegally.
Right.
That's what you like. All right.
Yeah.
So it's not like you like driving. No one likes driving. All right. Maybe if you're in Cali and you're going along the coast and you're on the winding roads, maybe you like
No,
that
no, it's
for a
horrible to
little
be
bit.
it's horrible to be the driver.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Cause
can't,
then you can't enjoy the
can't see the
view. Yeah.
coast. Can't see the view.
Yeah. It's a great
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I think people are Luddites for not using FSD. And I have even stronger criticism for people who are in the Tesla community and don't do it
Use it.
because at least other people can claim ignorance. You can't. But now that's today. The fact, and this is where like it really bends my mind. The fact that people still drive gas vehicles is insane to me. Like the fact that people still waste time going to get oil changes, the fact that they still have this thing that is, listen, I'm a mechanical electrical engineer. Like I get it. I'm a gearhead. I grew up under the hood of cars.
Right.
All
Right.
right. I grew up working on Model Ts with my stepfather. So like I get it. I love cars. I love getting dirty. But on a day-to-day basis, to not have an electric vehicle, something that's not going to break, something that's always charged in your garage, ready to go, fewer moving parts, like
Oh,
it just
oh,
seems insane
oh,
to
and
not have.
by the way, if you are driving it and you do want to jet around, you'll jet around way better than you did in your gas car.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I like the nostalgia of a nice, yeah, like, and then, going, from first and then popping to third, because why not, right? Like, we can be rebels, shifting down, you get to a light, kind of, like, don't get me wrong. Like, that's nice. It's the mechanical feel of the shifter and the gearbox, but it's not like, it just seems so dated. It's like saying, you know what? I don't want a cell phone.
Right.
I want to go to a payphone to make my
Yeah,
calls. Or, yeah, I'm going to sit here tethered to this phone on the wall. Like, I can't walk any further, but we're going to have a 20-foot,
right.
little
Extension cord.
cord. Yeah. But I don't know. It's just, you would think that there's a certain point, and you would think with all this drama with oil, like we haven't thought about that once.
Yeah.
Like
No, it
gasoline, I
doesn't
don't
matter.
care about gasoline
Yeah.
prices.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And the best part, most of our electricity is powered by natural gas or solar.
Right. Right.
So like we don't get hit with all these effects.
Yeah.
So you would just think there's a certain point where people are like, all right, I'm tired of dealing with this.
Yeah.
And they would just come to like the correct side. Like, and there is a right side. There just objectively is.
Apparently, the Norwegians are the smartest people in the world.
I'm not surprised. My wife's half Norwegian.
There you go. There you go. All
It
right.
was her
So,
other side that decided to marry me, though.
all right. Let's take a look and see where we are at this point. 2 minutes before the after hours closes for real and have to go to Robinhood. In the after hours, Tesla is up another 8.84%. So 386.24, solidly above 378 or 370, whatever. So what say you about tomorrow?
Daddy likes.
Daddy likes. Okay.
No, I'm trying
So,
something new here. I'm a dad. I'm a daddy now. Maybe
yeah.
I'm a zaddy. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Let's
No, I think honestly, I think I've been saying this for a while. The we have a very, very clear setup right now for Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Really the market, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have the go light yet. The light at the end of tunnel is there, and it's getting brighter and brighter. But until we can be confident that this Iran conflict is coming to an end, closure, you got to be cautious with what you're doing. Now, if you're a long-term buy and hold, keep doing what you're doing, dollar cost average, whatever. If you're a trader, a little different. You want to be cautious. You don't, you want to just have good market awareness. But I think we're set up right now for a very, very strong move. We've corrected quite a bit. The whole market has. And I think that once we wrap up this conflict, we are going to see more or less a recovery like we saw last year from April to December. Mm-hmm. Now, hopefully for Tesla, we can skip that whole June part and just participate with the rest of the market.
Yeah,
if you guys remember,
I've said it over and over again. I don't think we can clear 460 until we've got robotaxis at scale.
You're wrong.
Well, okay. I suppose if the macro was that strong, maybe you could, but I'm thinking if the macro is normal, we get into back to 7,100 or something on the S&P, we'll probably be at 460.
I mean, $10, we're splitting hairs here. if we can get the 460, Nick's a happy guy.
Nick's a happy guy anyway. Okay, well, good. All right, bonds are not making me happy, but they're at least better than they were. Down 0.4 in the pre-market. I'm sorry, 4.4 now. I'm sorry, 4 basis points, 4.4 basis points to 435. Nicholas, have you heard anything other than what I've heard, which is the bonds can't come down right now until they know how much the war cost?
Well, there's a few things here. So one, we talked about this maybe 3 weeks ago, and I was telling you that right now, with the level of the bonds, we're actually show that we should be hiking rates. And since then, now the prediction markets, or not prediction market, the Fed's own prediction tool actually has a rate hike in forecast. So just throwing that out there, that's interesting.
Yes.
But I don't agree fully with what your statement was until we know what the war cost. The bonds won't improve until the war is over and money stops getting pumped into oil, because today we had a 2-year auction and it was abysmal. So we need buyers of our debt. Long story short.
So the argument is that the $200 billion that's being asked for to pay for the war has to be, it's $200 billion more that you have to convince people to buy of debt. There's no other way to get it.
No. Well, sure. I mean, who owns most of our debt, right?
Yeah, the Chinese and the Japanese.
No.
Oh,
nope.
Oh, Americans, of course, first. Yeah.
The Fed. Right. The Fed owns most of the U.S. debt. So it could easily print and buy more debt. Right?
I see. Yeah, they could buy their own, but that's not good either. That's still printing money.
Oh, no, it's not good. It's inflationary for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Either way, it affects bonds. That's my point.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to be clear, because I keep hearing this and I don't hear anyone correcting it, not on Bloomberg, not on CNBC or anywhere. Oil prices going up is not inflationary.
Right.
All right. Housing prices going up is not inflationary.
Right.
Only one entity in this world can create inflation, and that's the government.
Right.
The government prints money, and that is what creates inflation. The Fed funds rate is not inflationary. Just because they lower rates doesn't create inflation.
Right.
The only reason we even use the Fed's fund rate is because the only tool to slow down the economy so that it can digest all of the money that was printed, and hopefully we suck some of that out. So I keep hearing this, that oil price going up is inflationary, the housing market, this, that. It's like, none of that. You guys need to go back and watch the Milton Friedman. None of that is how inflation works. Yes. It's money printing and velocity of money, which is
And
why if you're
and
going to print money, you don't want to put it into the hands of consumers.
right. And productivity.
Yes.
Right. That's the other side, according
Brings
to
it down. Yeah.
Okay. So bonds, we'll see what happens. I think they'll come back down to, I'm hoping at least into the
3.9.
Well, I want them to be back to
3.99.
3.9. I really want them to be back to 3.9 because, the housing market it's time, it's the season is here and we want people to buy homes.
It
Um,
will.
yeah, yeah. Okay, oil down 350 back to 88.85 on Texas. And Brent is closed right now, but 104. So a
Not
big
bad.
spread, though. Such a big spread. Holy, I've never seen a spread. And haven't been paying attention till like the last 3 years, but a 16-point spread, $16 spread. That's
Yeah.
huge. Nat gas, $2.90. So that's really
Oh,
good.
wow. That came down, huh?
Yep.
We were what,
Oh,
350 or something like that?
350, $4, 410. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gold finally rebounding. That got down to 43.90.
Guess who's got some trades on gold?
You right now? Did you get in
I
it?
did. I
Did you get a
I have
43.90?
one of my students. He's out of Canada. Actually, a big fan of yours, Randy.
Okay.
He We were on today doing a one-on-one session. He's one of my coaching clients, and when we were on there, he was telling me about that he had gold on as a trade. And I'm like, I haven't looked at gold in a while. GLD looking. I'm like, I'm gonna place a trade on it. So this afternoon, I placed a trade on gold. So, and I was thinking about you and Larry while I was doing it.
Well, it's come down so much, it probably does need a snapback at this point. And silver, even more. You could have done better if you bought silver up 5.33% in the pre-market. That's pretty good. And copper, which had gone under 550, which is like, I can't remember when it was under 550. Back up now a little bit to 555. Um, dollar, I don't know. It looks pretty flat. Bitcoin can't get out of its own way. Still sitting plus or minus 70. So 70,500.
Well, that's pretty good for Bitcoin right now.
Yeah. But it's been what, 64 to 76 for like since last October, I guess.
I mean, as Tesla investors, we really have no room to talk. Just let's give the Bitcoin crypto crowd a break.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Let's make sure if we are going to cast shade that we are coming from a point of view that will create that shade.
All right,
Right now,
before I give the equities, the pre-market on the equities, I just want to remind everybody that Nick Gibbs has this class. He was just talking about putting in an order. Was that an options for gold or was that gold itself?
yeah, I sold some puts on gold.
Still some
Yeah.
puts. See, there you go. So if you want to learn all about how to put some puts on gold or some calls on gold or sell or buy either one, then all the fundamentals, all the foundational stuff, everything you need to know in one Saturday session. Right now, any seats open for the end of April?
I'm closing it out Friday. I might close it out tomorrow,
Ooh,
actually.
okay,
So
so go down right now into the description below, click on the link, make sure you click on that link because that's the only Randy gets paid. And you want to support the channel, right?
yeah, and I will say that I'm taking signups right now, not just for April, but May as well.
Okay.
I opened up May because after Friday, I'm raising prices.
Oh,
So
oh,
this is my way of giving 2 dates for people so they could have a chance to sign up right now. But come Friday, we're raising prices.
okay. Well, that's what you should do when you're getting that many people showing up. Yeah, of course, you're going to raise the price.
Well, it's not even that. It's the amount of how quickly people are making returns after the
Oh, okay.
course. Like, all right, so you got the volume of people, and then they see how fast everyone else is making returns, and so
Right.
then they're trying to sign up. It's like, all right, I gotta slow this thing down a little bit.
Okay. All right. Okay. So for tomorrow, everything's up, up, up. We've got where'd it go?
Yeah, for now, let's
Here we
see.
go. Zero point 0.7 for the Dow, 0.69, call it zero point 0.7 for the S&P, and zero point 0.8 for the NASDAQ future. So everything is looking up for tomorrow. And the president is saying that it's over. It's over. That the Iranians are talking, they're talking wisdom or smarts or something. I forget what he said.
Um, that's interesting. So do you think was there something new? I saw something
Oh,
about like a 1 month.
oh, I didn't see anything about it 1 month. What I saw was is that the president said, we've already won it. Then he said that the Iran, whoever they're talking to, he said that they were talking smart, isn't what the word he used. It was a word like smart, that the conversation indicated that they were making the right decisions.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm looking at it here. It looks like U.S. sent Iran a 15-point plan to end
Right.
the war.
Mhm.
And then right below that, which I think is kind of more interesting, is I'm assuming everybody has seen uh the progressions of the Raptor engine
Oh,
where it's you know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about? So uh Elon just posted Optimus 3 is in the same league as Raptor 3.
Oh, gee.
So that's a hell of a statement. So
Yeah, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I'm really
I
expecting.
was like, how can you not when you say that? It's like, all
I
right,
know.
like you're really setting the bar up here.
That's right. Well,
Because
okay.
Raptor 3 is a sexy looking engine.
Well, here's the reason why I'm so excited about Optimus 3. 3 years ago on my channel, we were talking about I was, I think, the first one to ever say it, is that I thought we would have 1,000 Optimi sitting in, and by the way, we coined that phrase on my channel. We had a contest, should it be Optimuses or Optimi, and Optimi won, and Elon now calls it Optimi. And then at that same time, I said they're going to put 1,000 robots in cubicles or walking around a factory, and they're going to be doing 1,000 jobs till they get it right, and then they'll change jobs.
Mhm.
And Elon says it's more than 1,000. So they didn't do it 3 years ago. They didn't do it 2 years ago. They didn't do it a year ago, but that's what they're doing now. And to me, that's the key. They're training the robots on thousands of tasks.
That's another good example of what I was saying before, Randy, where Tesla has been really good that they don't scale until they're ready.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people might have thought like, hey, Optimus 1, Optimus 2, like why aren't they building more? They're very good at holding back until it's time to scale. So again, the fact that we see all these potential Model Ys that are robo taxis
Right,
all over,
right,
like it's something has changed or they're ready for something. Like there's something going on.
right, right.
That's I think it's exciting. So I think that I'm happy you brought that up because that's another good example other than data centers and batteries and yeah.
Exactly, exactly. By the way, Brian Wang is coming up tonight, not Brian White, Brian Wang tonight at around 7 o'clock, 7:30, probably 7:30, because we need to have Nick have plenty of time to to really whack it and get tons and tons of views. So anyway, Brian Wang about 7:30. And we've already recorded. I can tell you you absolutely need to listen to it. So okay, that's all I got for you right now. And thank you, Nick, for everything you do and for being on the show. And to all you guys out there, it's been great talking to you.